All right. Hello, everybody. Look at that. I can see people who are filing on in. We got video going this time. We got the real deal. This is going to be a really nice session. So glad everybody could jump in with us again this week for the Virtuous Insider. Really like having this opportunity to connect with everybody more frequently and have some of these slightly less formal sessions, but to really go over some of these key topics. And today is actually really cool. Today we're doing the first of our partner spotlight sessions. We wanted to really have a chance to have some of our partners come on and share some of their knowledge, right? Share some of their insights and also talk, especially in this case, about how they can work together with Virtuous to help you even do more in Virtuous. So I want to make sure we get going here. We've got a limited amount of time. As always, we try to keep this to 30 minutes. We know it's a lot to meet weekly, so we don't want to keep you too long. Some quick ground rules, as everybody loves to ask. Yes, we are going to record today's session, so you'll be able to access that in the support center where you can find the recordings of all of the Virtuous Insider sessions and any of our past webinars. They all live there on demand. Because we are recording, everyone is muted. But if you do have questions, as always, go ahead and send them in. We love to answer those. You can send them in using that Q&A box, and we'll keep an eye out for any of those that are coming in. And when I say we, I'm talking about myself, Scott Richards, Director of Training here at Virtuous, and my co-presenter for today, Jose from Overflow. Jose, how you doing?
Doing great, Scott. Excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay. So for today, we don't have a super fancy agenda or anything to that effect. We just want to really chat about Overflow and Virtuous. So Overflow is a product that integrates with Virtuous. We launched this integration actually last year, roundabouts in the fall or so, in terms of a tighter integration with Virtuous. And it really, to me, and I'll let Jose speak more to this, but it really serves a very specific need, to make it easier and reduce the friction for donors who want to donate stock. Jose, is that a good way to put it?
Yep, spot on. You're doing
Excellent.
great, Scott.
So I'll let you chat a little bit more about who Overflow is and even why we might want to consider donations of stock, especially in an online form, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you everybody who joined in today. Really our vision at Overflow is to look at how can we inspire greater generosity. And what we found is that there's a massive shift that's happening as far as how donors hold their wealth. It's no longer tied up in cash alone, right? Throughout the past decades, people have just been, putting a lot of money, putting a lot of their wealth into non-cash assets. And one of those is stock. When we look at how donors hold their liquid assets today, we found based on census data that 76% of their liquid assets is in stock versus 24% which is in cash. And so we realized that there's a big need to promote and better communicate the opportunity for somebody to donate and be generous in the form of stock donations, and also make it easy for them to go about doing that, and in a way that is going to generate more generosity and create more impact around the world. So that's kind of our perspective on it. And I know, Scott, you've got a couple of slides for me, so we can go ahead and jump in a bit into why somebody would donate stock to begin with. For those who don't know, there's a lot of advantages to donating stock. And typically what people might do is say, well, I bought, stock at, let's say $5,000 and that grew to $10,000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the stock, cash out, but immediately I have to pay capital gains tax. So if I sell that stock, typically what happens is somebody has to pay some capital gains tax burden. If you're in California like me, you might end up paying up to 37% in capital gains tax. And bottom line, you're now reducing the amount that you initially wanted to give to an organization. Now, the benefits of giving stock directly to a nonprofit is that it's the only legal way to bypass capital gains tax. So if you made $5,000 on the stock that you initially ended up investing in, that totals out to be 10,000. Then in the end, you're actually giving that full amount with no capital gains tax to a nonprofit. The nonprofit doesn't have to pay any capital gains tax either. So that's also an advantage to the nonprofit. And in the end, you're basically getting a tax write-off on 10,000 when you only put in 5,000. It's just something that we often say is that you're basically letting the stock market grow that donation and compound that generosity that the donor wants to engage in. So tremendous benefits to the donor and the nonprofit around stock donation. But we've got a couple of gaps that typically happen in this area, right? Very few people, very few donors, and we can get into the second slide, Scott, very few donors today know they can even donate stock to an organization. So there's an education and communication gap that we're helping with. And the second piece is that if somebody were to donate stock, the current process is not set up to be intuitive. It's not set up to create a positive and easy experience for people to donate stock. And I wanted to give you guys a glimpse of what we typically see, happening when somebody wants to donate stock. Initially, the donor would contact the nonprofit, letting them know, hey, I have an interest in giving stock. The nonprofit may have a brokerage account set up, and they may have a PDF form with instructions on how to go about giving stock. They may provide that to the donor. Then the donor would complete it and coordinate with their broker. They may have to mail the form. They may have to fax it in. That can take time. And ultimately, the nonprofit may receive the gift, but in many cases, nonprofits can receive a stock gift without even knowing who ended up making a stock donation. And so that's a pain point that we often hear, where it's hard to piece together who the donor is and what that stock donation ended up being, so that you can thank the donor for that generous gift and be able to provide that gift acknowledgement receipt. So that is the process today around stock donations. You can see it's not set up to enable and empower every donor to engage in this way. It does involve a lot of manual work and intervention. And so what we've done is we've actually condensed this whole process into a 2-minute experience that somebody can do literally straight from their phone. And so this is where, we can certainly cover what it looks like for somebody to donate stock. And of course, grateful for the partnership that we have with Virtuous and how we've been able to bake this into that donation experience. It's another way for people to give that can have even greater benefits for everyone involved. Scott, anything that you want to add or chime in with before I show it in action?
Well, yeah, I wanted to chat a little bit about this from the Virtuous side, just in terms of how to get started and how to set up Overflow and what it looks like to add it to a form. And then you can show us all the magic that happens after that. And to me, the really big thing here again, and you mentioned it, we mentioned it at the beginning, and it's one of the key principles for online giving, right? I want to reduce the friction in the process. I want to make it easier for someone to donate. And like you pointed out here, stock donations are really effective. They benefit the donor, they benefit the organization, but it's complicated. And that complexity, I mean, talk about adding friction. You talked about weeks to the process. I mean, man, that makes it much harder to convert someone to a donor than I really want it to be. So let's take a look at this real quickly here. We'll flip over to Virtuous just so we can get a sneak peek. Well, sneak peek, you guys know how this works. But I wanted to show how to set this up real quickly, show how you can add it to a form, and then we can see all the magic that happens afterwards. So in Virtuous, if you navigate to the More Tools menu over here on the left and you go to Connectivity, you're going to see right there, you don't have to dig into any other sub menu. You don't have to go to the 5th settings screen and turn left. Right here is Overflow Stock Donations, right? And so if I click on that, the setup is really me coming in and completing this form, right? I come in and some of it's already filled out for me because it knows who I am. It knows which organization I'm with. I can plug in the additional information that registers me with Overflow, and Jose will talk all about what happens after that. For us, I mean, we try to make it as easy as possible. And then once you've got that set up, if you go into the marketing side of Virtuous, you go to create a giving form. So let's create a quick giving form here. And let's say that this is going to be the insider form. Woo! Go ahead and create an insider form. So again, it builds out that form with most of the fields that I'd want already in here. right? I can come in, it's a drag and drop editor. I can drag stuff around. I can drop it where I want. Great. And out of the box, it has a way for folks to donate with their credit card. Fantastic. But I can also add in over here, we know about being able to add in giving with the bank account, right? Hey, do you want to do ACH? You want to log into your bank? That's cool. But down here under plugins, now that I've set up Overflow, that's where I can see that I have the ability through Overflow to let people donate stock. Okay, and if I just drag that in, I can drop it right on here. Let's put it, say, right above the pay with bank account option. Great, right? It's not going to stack these top to bottom. It just looks like that here. And then when I come up here to actions and I go ahead and preview my form, and this is just the basic rendering of it, right? But this is going to show my donation form in my array. And then down here, it's going to default to credit card. As a donor, I could choose to donate with my bank account and log in, or I could choose to make a stock donation. And then that's going to ask me to go ahead and log into my brokerage account and complete that process. So that's all I need to do to add it to a form. Now, Jose, I'll stop sharing my screen and toss it over to you to show us all the magic that happens on the Overflow side of things. Here, let's go ahead and do that. And then you can walk us through what happens from there.
All right, I'm going to share my screen again and we can dive in. So I wanted to give an example of a current Virtuous client that ended up, completing the steps that Scott ended up going through. They added the ability to donate stock, so you can see how it begins to come to life, right? Right next to credit donations, bank account donations, or stock donations, and we make it a simple one-click experience where somebody can go in and be able to see the flow that we've created that enables people to complete a stock donation in less than 2 minutes in a fully digital fashion. So what we found, and I want to show a demo environment here, is that initially people want to know what they have in their portfolio before they even donate. They want to get a sense of that. They're inspired by your messaging, by your impact and the work you're doing. They want to respond, but they first want to check, what exactly do I have? What can I give from it? So what we did is we integrated the ability for people to see what they have in their portfolio. And so you can see here that we have a connection with Plaid where we allow people to securely and privately see what they have in their portfolio. And through this, they can pick whatever brokerage they want to give from. So we have a really robust network of brokers that we can support. And from here, somebody can click, let's say, Fidelity. I want to go into my Fidelity account and see what I have there to then pick and choose what I want to donate to this organization. And so next up, we're going to be showing the different accounts somebody may have within that brokerage account. And we support mutual funds, ETFs, individual stocks. So you're seeing a couple of demo examples here from Plaid, but those are basically the accounts that we support. And the next thing is just asking a few questions. Is the account co-owned? Were the shares given to you by a company? Typically, these questions can be in a PDF form, etc. But we try to make it really simple for them to get through it and get to the funnest part. And that's really picking and choosing what they want to donate and make an impact through. So the wow moment is really showing them what they have in their portfolio. It's a convenience factor. It allows them to be not only feel like they have autonomy in the process, but also it reminds them of what they have in their portfolio. So I might have totally forgotten that I have 120 Apple shares. And so, in wanting to respond and be generous, I may feel more generous and I may feel like giving more. Instead of, 1 share, I may want to give 10 shares. And that's really the feeling and experience that we're wanting to create, where by bringing that convenience and that visibility into their portfolio, that can result in greater donations. And one thing that I wanted to highlight is, we're seeing amazing generosity through our platform, and the average donation through Overflow has been $6,031. The average cash donation nationwide, I believe, is about 128. So it's been amazing to see a 47x multiplier on the average donation. And that's for multiple reasons. I talked about the fact that we show people what they have and how that can make them feel more generous. But conceptually, people are not betting on stock for their day-to-day expenses. It's not something, it doesn't interrupt their cash flow in any way. So it's not like they have to do a trade-off between, am I going to pay these bills to do X, Y, and Z with my cash or donate it? They basically have that money sitting in a different bucket in a brokerage account, and they're probably not thinking about it day in and day out. And now with 2020 and the stock boom that's been happening, it's been totally wild. We've seen that people are sitting on incredible gains in stock, and they haven't even decided what they want to do about that. So even now, we're finding that donors are going through their tax season, they're filing taxes, they're realizing, well, I could have done things differently. Back in 2020, I could have taken advantage of these different tax benefits and probably given more. So even now, we're seeing momentum of donors realizing that, hey, I want to give smarter. Where am I going to give from? And thinking about what to do about those stock gains that they've already made. So all that said, it is definitely driving greater donation amounts, which in the end is fueling a lot of the amazing work that you're all doing. So right here, somebody can select the order of that donation. This is more of like a finance term to maximize that tax benefit. They can hover over to the question mark and see what exactly we mean by FIFO and LIFO, but they can pick whatever they want to give through. And then ultimately, we can even filter this and customize it for clients, where if you have a certain campaign, fund, or initiative that you want the giving to go toward, we can segment it all and organize it in a really clean format for you all. Now, what we've also heard, and I referenced this in the past, is that many nonprofits may not even know who ended up making a stock donation, and that can really muddy the process of acknowledging the gift and thanking the donor for their generous contribution. So you'll see here that we're going to capture that donor information for donors to go ahead and provide, and then get through that experience and ultimately sign off digitally, where they can, even if they're at a live event or a gala, they can pull out their phone, and for the first time ever, they can give stock in real time right then and there without following up with anyone or having to go through any particular manual steps. So really, in the end, we're going to provide an image of the work you're doing. It's about you. It's about the work you're doing and the impact you're making. So we're going to top it off with that. And right here, what's going to happen next is we can send a real-time notification to you, letting you know who made a gift with that complete donor information. And then on the back end, here's where we offer two avenues. And one of them is really convenient to nonprofits, because many nonprofits might think, well, do I need to create a brokerage account to get started and start receiving stock donations? And the answer is no, you don't need to create a brokerage account if you work with Overflow. What we can do is we can accept the stock gifts, and we utilize a fund on the side that is registered 501c3, so the donor still gets the tax benefit of that stock donation, and we can liquidate the donation and send it to you via check or ACH transfer, whatever you would prefer. So we can definitely take that route of just liquidating, sending you the funds in a dollar amount. But if you already have a brokerage account and you want to keep that process the way it is, we can definitely go hand in hand with that and support what you have there. So wanted to definitely communicate that for any of you that are wondering, hey, can I get started with this right away, or do I need to go through or jump through a couple of hoops to get a brokerage account set up? Definitely trying to make it as easy as possible. So that is it for the product experience. And Scott, I wanted to add a few things about sort of what we do around this, because it's really not just about putting a button on your site or having an option to donate stock and then magically all these donations are going to come in. That's not really how it works. I wish it worked that way, but
wait,
it's not the case.
Just that simple? You don't just do it and it happens?
I wish, but not everything is as simple as we want it to be. So and so what we found is that education is really important, engagement, communication around this. And we have a lot of nonprofits saying, really want to maximize this, but where do I start? What do I do? What do I communicate? What do I send to my donors, et cetera? And that's a big piece of the puzzle that we want to help with and serve you in. So with that, we do provide a whole marketing playbook, and that's what I wanted to show here. That is going to give you access to plug and play best practices, resources, marketing emails. I can show you here from the work that we've done with a lot of nonprofits, we've been able to really hone in on what messaging works best, what gets donors to actually feel inspired to give stock, and what do they need to know. So you can literally copy and paste the best practices we've already had in working with different nonprofits. We've even had people add verbiage to the donation receipt. So when somebody donates via debit or credit or ACH, that's real estate that is currently maybe a thank you message, but adding a blurb about, hey, have you considered donating stock? different tips and tricks that would be available for you. And we're very heavily invested in your success with this, and we'll make sure you have what you need to be successful with this approach. So that is it as far as how we engage, and definitely wanted to highlight that marketing angle. We feel it's crucial, and you're kind of doing your donors a favor by making them aware of a smarter way to give.
That is excellent. Well, and that's the thing, right? We at Virtuous, we say it all the time too. We are not just a vendor, right? We want to be a partner. We want to help you in terms of achieving your success. And so it's really neat that Overflow kind of has the same approach to say, like you said, hey, we're not just going to stick a button on your website and like hope for the best. We're going to coach you through, hey, here are the best practices. Here is the things that we've seen be successful for other organizations and that we think you guys could have success with. And so here's our, like you said, here's our whole playbook. So, hey, I have the question slide up. I know, man, 30 minutes always goes fast, doesn't it? And we've had some questions coming in. So I want to make sure that we can address a few of those. And not surprisingly, Jose, some of these are going to be for you and not so much for me. Because there's a lot of excitement about this. But we have had a couple of folks who have asked about Overflow. Is this only available for Virtuous Giving? So as far as the integration component in Virtuous is concerned, yes, you would need to be using Virtuous Giving to have that form builder option to drop that stock donation option on your website. Now, Jose, I don't know if there are other clients who might be using Overflow as more of a standalone sort of solution, or if it is dependent on having a partner like Virtuous to integrate directly.
Yeah, great question. It is available as a standalone solution, but the advantages of having it with Virtuous Giving is that it's a unified experience, and we've seen that the more unified you make it, and part of that cohesive giving experience, I think number one, the more people are going to be aware that, hey, I can give stock, because anybody who's kind of giving cash is sort of going to be converted into engaging through stock donations. So that does provide an advantage from that standpoint.
Excellent. And we had another question about, I know you guys support stock, but do you guys also support donating via crypto?
Crypto is coming up in about 2 months. So I'm really excited about that. We're definitely trying to be that partner when it comes to non-cash giving. We have things on the horizon like crypto and also even private equity, right? A lot of people that kind of the freshly minted millionaires of DoorDash and Airbnb, they held a lot of wealth in private equity before that company IPO'd. So there's a lot of wealth there that we eventually want to unlock for nonprofits. So stay tuned for more. I'm sure once we add crypto, we can delve into that down the line.
That'll be amazing. You'll get all the GameStop millionaires and the Dogecoin millionaires and have them donating to nonprofits. It'll be swell. So, hey, we had another question, 2 questions actually, just related to costs. One, which is, hey, are there costs to sign up with Overflow? And then the other question was about fees if someone has their own brokerage account. And so I don't know if you want to kind of tackle both of those together.
Yeah, definitely. So our model is we have 2 packages, and it's based on what level of service you want. In one of the packages, it's full service. You literally get a dedicated person from our team to create custom marketing assets and everything that you need to really ramp this up. So we're basically an extension of your team that's going to be your stock donations crew, helping you really ramp this up and drive it forward. And then the other model is self-serve. For both, we have a subscription fee annually, and then our processing fee is on the stock itself. But we're actually the only, if not, yeah, I think we might be, but we cap our processing fee on the stock side, and so that's been a nice advantage there. Scott, I don't know if there's anything further from that you wanted me to share, but that's an overview, and I know we're likely going to have opportunities to have follow-up conversations with any of you that want to dig deeper.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the best way for folks to contact Overflow or contact you if they have other questions about pricing and sort of the services?
Yeah, I'm actually going to put in my email right here. So jose@overflow.co. Pretty simple. You can reach out to me directly, and we can go ahead and dig deeper into any of this and would love to get to know a lot of these folks that have been engaging on a one-on-one level, understand more about your organization, and see how we can help you grow donations.
That is fantastic. That's great. Well, and we did have a question here about, does a donor, do they have to go to Virtuous to donate via Overflow, or can they go through the charitable organization? And I think the question here is, hey, can I donate through the organization's giving form? And you had shown a couple different examples. So any organization can create their giving form. They can put it on their website. And then the minute someone clicks to say, hey, I want to donate stock, that will keep them there. It just opens that window that you showed us to walk through the stock giving process.
Yep, pretty much. That's correct.
Excellent. So it doesn't feel like you're going to any place different. And if they're already used to going to someone's website to donate, like you said, hey, they've been giving with credit card, they've been giving through their bank account. This is just offering them another way to donate that, again, benefits everybody.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it's kind of, you're appealing to how people want to give. Fundraising should mirror how people want to give. And if people are a lot more inclined to give out of that, stock bucket than they are on their cash flow, day-to-day cash flow, then make that an option and see how that's going to be a promising channel. I mean, we've been really excited to see just the amount of generosity and how people can really give a lot more in those non-cash ways.
Excellent. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think making it easier to do that, especially from an online donation form, you don't see that a lot. It's a differentiator for an organization that's able to do it. It's a differentiator for their donors to make it easier to do. And like you said, there's a lot of wealth that's kind of untapped, right? In that sort of stock holdings that are out there among the general public.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at some of the research that's come out, just two things that I wanted to highlight. Fidelity Charitable did a lot of digging into this. They already found that 80% of donors today own appreciated assets like stock. That's what they found, and it's already an opportunity that exists today now. And so this is something that we really help nonprofits tap into. And then a study from the Texas Tech University that came out, they kind of measured how nonprofits receiving stock compared to those that didn't receive stock for a period of 5 years. And they discovered that those that received stock were growing 55% faster than those that never received stock throughout that period of time. So there's a lot of research out there. It's not just the fact that people have a lot of wealth there, but it's also the fact that by receiving these type of donations, you can really accelerate your growth and impact.
That's fantastic. Oh, man. Well, hey, I know we're right at our time here. We want to keep it again at 30 minutes. So Jose, first off, thank you for jumping in and for joining us today as our featured guest. We really dug having you on. And everybody just remember, we are doing this weekly, like we said. And so next week on The Insider, we're going to have our product pulse section. Or session. So we'll have Jason Van Loo. He's our director of product. He's going to join us to talk a little bit more about what's going on with the Virtuous product and a little insight into some of the features there. So make sure you join us. And remember, we're doing this every Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Mark your calendar, be there or be square. And as always, I like to leave everybody with some inspiring, nice words from people who are smarter than me. I'm not going to speak for Jose, say they're smarter than him. But and for this, I had to dig into my past. Some of you may not know this. I have a music theater background. And so I just wanted to share this one because it seemed like the thing to do. And I felt like some of this kind of dovetailed with some of the stock giving, but there is a very real relationship, both quantitatively and qualitatively, between what you contribute and what you get out of this world. And I really kind of liked that because some of what Jose was talking about was the idea that donating stock is really one of those win-win scenarios that can benefit a donor as much as it helps to benefit your organization and your beneficiaries. And that's what we want, right? We want to have a fundraising, program that serves everybody, serves our entire community, right? And so if I can do that, man, that's fantastic. So, hey, thanks, Jose. Again, loved hearing the content. Don't forget, you can email him, jose@overflow.co, and find out more information about working with Overflow.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Have a good one.